how to deploy a Node.js JavaScript development environment on Ubuntu Linux 22.04. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the steps to deploy a Node.js development environment on Ubuntu 22.04 with Node.js version 18, which is the most current one. Okay, a little background real quick. Well, first of all, let me show you that. Let me show you my 22.04. Okay, Ubuntu 22.04. Okay, we're gonna put Node up. We're gonna put Node here. Okay, so we'll clear that. And a quick little background on Node. Node.js is a very popular open source backend JavaScript runtime environment that is used for server-side development. Node.js makes it possible to execute JavaScript code outside of a web browser so you can design and build scalable applications. I'm going to demonstrate how to deploy a Node.js development environment on the latest release of Ubuntu Desktop 22.04. Now, Ubuntu does include a version of Node.js in the default repos, and although it's out of date, it could still be used, and it's supported until I think about 2025. Okay, so that would be like this. You would, if you wanted to check to see if you have Node already, just Node like that, and then this probably right here is what I just referred to as far as it being in the default Ubuntu repos. This will give you, I'm not sure what the version is, but it's going to be an older version. So we're just going to bypass that. And of course later when we do Node or Node-V, we're going to get some output here. So for now there's no Node installed, so we'll clear that. Okay, and then of course once we have Node, I'll just call it Node. I'm not going to call it JS. Node. Okay. Once Node is installed, then we'll deploy the standard Hello World application. You're all familiar with the Hello World, right? That's what that's the standard program everybody has to run when they first install a runtime or some kind of a language or whatnot. Okay, so what you'll need to deploy Node to make this work, we're going to need a running instance of Ubuntu Linux, which we have. Desktop or server, doesn't really matter. Mine's desktop. And a user with sudo privileges, and that's it. And I have that. Okay. Let me just show you really quick the web page here. So we're going to install version 18, which is this one here. Now you can see LTS. The 16 is the LTS. This one's more current. Probably just hasn't been tested as much and whatnot, but it's got more of the the cutting and bleeding edge, APIs and whatnot. So we're going to go with this one here. This would be a good choice too. This one's going to give you more features, latest features. It even says right here, latest features. Either one would be good, but we're going to go with this one here. Okay, so this is the Node web page here, nodejs.org. You can't. Easy to find. Okay, so we're going to do this one here, and we're going to do it in the terminal. We're not going to download it from the page directly. We're going to do it in terminal. Okay, so we're going to minimize that back to the term. Okay, we're logged in. Terminal window's open, and we're going to add the necessary repo with the following command. Okay, we're going to use this command, this curl command here. Now, if you don't have curl, now curl is a utility like wget. It downloads files from the internet. If you don't have curl already installed, then just type in curl, and you can verify if it's installed or not. If it is, fine. If not, you'd probably be prompted to install it with apt. So, off the top of my head, I think it would be sudo apt install curl. I think would be pretty much the standard command there to install the curl utility. Okay, so I have got it. So I'm going to pass this. I'm going to pass this. So I'm going to use curl to download this file here, this repo here. Well, actually, at this point, we're just going to install. We're just going to be installing the we're going to add the necessary repo, and it's going to this is the repo here, and it's going to pipe that to the sudo into a sudo session, and it's going to put it. It's going to add it to the bash terminal here, and that bash terminal is going to add it to the repo list. And then once the repo is added to our source list, then we can install Node.js from that. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this now. You see, it's going to be putting it into the apt cache. Okay, that was let's see here. Okay, let's read this real quick here. Okay, we're going to run that in a bit to install we're going to run that now. We're going to install the Node.js runtime, and I think it also gives us the NPM package manager as well. And then we're going to run these separately, and we're going to install. First, we're going to see if these compilers are installed, and then we're going to install the Yarn manager separately as well. Okay, so we're good here. Now let's just go over really quick what we did here. Again, we used the curl utility to add the repo to the apt cache. In my opinion, what happened was that this repo was piped to the bash terminal shell, and I'm not really quite sure if there was a script that was run or what happens when it gets passed into the bash shell that would actually have triggered, the populating of the apt cache. But nonetheless, this URL for the repo was added to the source code list, or to the repo source list. So if you go into your repo manager GUI or into the whatever text file that has your repo URLs, then you'll probably find this in there. Now I looked this up myself, this nodesource.com URL, and I found it here. I'm not really sure what it's got to do with the official Node.js page, but this is where the version of Node that we want is hosted. You could probably pull it from here in terminal, or download it directly. And I've done that before, but for the purposes of this tutorial, it's going to be pulling it from this page here, nodesource.com, and it's going to be the most current version. It's going to be the 18x here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and minimize that. Back to the terminal here. Okay, we're all staged and ready to go. Now, okay, once that's taken care of, we're going to install Node.js, or just Node. Let's call it Node, with the following sudo command. We're going to use sudo apt-get, standard install command here, and Node.js, Node JavaScript with the Y flag. Okay. Wait for this to install. You see here we're installing the Node.js here, new package. This is the last. This is the last line. Yep. Okay, that's good. Okay, we'll clear that. Now, in your instance, your installation might error out or fault, even though you used a sudo apt-get install. Sometimes even the -f flag wouldn't fix the problem, so then you might have to do a depackage. But this worked for us, so we can move on. We don't have to deal with depackage at this point. Or actually, you might even not even depackage. Maybe so if apt doesn't do it, which it should be able to handle a dev package better than a depackaged program. But there's also a other ways of doing it. Like I'm not sure what Ubuntu has other than the GDebi graphical user the GDebi GUI package installer here, and you can also probably run it from the terminal as well. Let's see if it's installed on mine or not, because I didn't install it. It already came the GUI. Okay, so it's installed there as well. Okay, yeah. So you can just do GDebi if apt doesn't do it, but apt worked for us, so we can move on. Okay. Okay, we're going to want to check a certain directory to see if which .deb file was downloaded, and we can edit the installation command to suit. Okay, so the location that the curl utility installed the .deb file is in this path right here. So you can, a CD into here, into this path here, var cache apt archives, and then once you're here, do an ls-a so you can see all the files that are in here. And I found it down here, n Node.js 18 blah blah blah, and it's a .deb file, so it puts it here. Okay, that's the path that puts it in right there. Okay, we'll clear that. Go back to the home. Clear it again. Okay. You don't have to do that. It's just good to see, where it was, if it was downloaded, where it was put, and if it was what you expected that was going to be downloaded. That was good. That was Node 18. That was Node runtime 18, version 18 .deb file. Okay. Okay. So once it's installed. Now we did the installation already, so the Node runtime is already installed. Now we're going to add a few more packages. I already have them, I do believe. One is the GCC compiler. As you can see, it's installed. You can do a V here. I have 11, and also for C++ files. So the GCC would be for C source code files, and the G++ would be for C++ source code files. And you can see I have both those compilers installed. Now we'll clear this, and I have the make utility here. I have it. If you don't have it, I believe a sudo apt install make will probably get it for you. But you can see we have all the files there. I mean, all the packages that we need. All the additional ones. Otherwise, just invoke the apt again. Apt get, and you can just key in the GCC, the GPP, and the make. Just tell me they're already installed probably. Okay, great. You see GPP, G++, GCC, and make. Everything's already installed here. Okay, so but you need these three packages. Well, these are compilers. I don't know if you can refer to them as packages. I guess you can, yeah. But these are compilers, and this is a make tool. So we need these build tools here, compilers. Okay. So we have what we need there. Now we're going to install Yarn. Yarn is also kind of like NPM. It's like a package manager for JavaScript. Okay, we can do a quick little check here just to verify that Node is installed. Okay, we can do that at this point now. Version 18.8. Okay, great. That's where we wanted to be. And then we can also check for the Node package manager as well. That usually comes bundled with a Node with Node installations usually. But if you don't have if somehow you install Node some other way and you don't have NPM, I would advise you to. I know it's got some security issues and whatnot. I don't know. That's up to you. But it's good to have. You're going to have some kind of a package manager. NPM and Yarn seem to be the main ones, I think. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to install the Yarn package manager. Okay, so we're going to start adding the Yarn package manager here. Again, we're going to use the curl, and we're going to download the key, and I'm going to pipe it into some of these things here. So we're going to this first one will grab the key. Hold on. Okay, this is going to be the full command to actually to download and then store the public key. So you get the key here, and it pipes into a T command here, and that just simply means it's going to show the output of the command, and at the same time it's going to write the key to this path here. So we'll enter on that. Okay, that's good. That's better. Okay, then on to the next step. Okay, the next step in installing the Yarn package manager is taking the key that we just saved, and we're going to bind that into the Yarn package repo here, and then that's going to be then those two, that key and the repo, once they're binded together, the whole thing will be added to the sources list here. So this is where APT will pull the Yarn installation from with the help of the key. Okay, so essentially the key was involved along with the repo, add the repo URL, and it was put into the sources list. Sources.list here. And then once that's done, so we've done all the staging with the key and the repo and adding it to the source list. Now we can go ahead and just use a standard sudo command apt-get, and we're going to go ahead and actually I have whatever we need is already in my history. Just a standard apt update and upgrade command that are chained together. So once you've done all that, then you need to do the standard apt update and upgrade. See, they're chained together here. So we'll do that. That'll update the cache. It'll let apt know that there's been a new repo added for Yarn. So when we do the I should have actually tacked on. You could do that by itself, and then on another line you could actually just go ahead and once you clear that. So once you've done the update and upgrade, then you can just use apt to install it, or you could tack it on to the end there. Either way, sometimes it's good to chain things together, 2 for 1, 3 for 1. Other times it's good to kind of do things separately. That way you can digest what's going on a little bit easier. Okay, so once we did the update and upgrade on the apt, then we can use apt to actually install it, the Yarn package. Okay, so that'll get us Yarn installed. Okay, that's good. 1.22. I'm not sure what the new version is. You can always go to the Yarn website. If you want. And then just key in Yarn. Right here, the package manager. Open that. This is the Yarn page, in case you didn't know, yarnpackage.com. And you can poke around here later on your own time. You can figure out what the new, unless you want me to look really quick here. I haven't been here for a while. Anyway, you can come here and look on the Yarn page and find out what the newest, the most current version is. What we have is 1.22 for Yarn. And we already verified the node installation. We verified the NPM installation, and we see that Yarn is installed. You can also just do Yarn by itself and call it like this. Hopefully it's on the path. Okay, great. So we have node, NPM, and Yarn installed. Okay. Okay, so we've installed node, runtime, the NPM package manager, and the Yarn package manager for JavaScript. Now we're going to create we're going to create an application, and we're going to test our Node installation. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a directory. Let's make a directory that we're going to put our source code file into. So we're going to use the regular standard make dir here, and I'll call it node test. You can call it whatever else you want as long as you can keep track of it. And then we're going to cd into the node test folder. Okay, and then in here you could use a code editor or some in-terminal editor. I'm going to use Nano to create the .js file. So I'm going to go ahead and invoke Nano, and I'm going to call it hello. Why don't we go with something different? I mean, hello world is so overdone. Let's just go hello node. How's that? Hello node, a little different. Hello node with the .js extension. It's a JavaScript source code file. Okay, now we're going to populate this with some code here, some JavaScript code. Okay, so here's the JavaScript source code. As you can see, I've commented each block, each line, so we know what was going on here. Load the required HTTP module. Now we're going to use the loopback address if somehow it faults, so we can come here and once you get the host IP address with the ifconfig 192.168.1.2 for me, then you can go ahead and replace the local host address. But we'll go with the local host for now. And you can see the next line was create the server that listens on that port, and then we're going to set our HTTP error. Not so much an error, because 200 is not an error, but it's an HTTP code, and you want 200. You don't want 400 or 500, which indicates a problem. 400 on your client end, 500 is typically a server end. 200 is good. So this is our HTTP status code here, 200. And then we're going to listen for requests on port 3000. Okay, so we have our JavaScript code here in the Nano editor. So we can go ahead and Control O on that, save it, Control X, and get out of it. Now we're going to go ahead and view. We're going to go ahead and view that application. Now let's try it in the node. Let's try it. Well, okay, let's stay in that. Let's stay here, where we created the actual source code file. Okay, right there. Let's stay there. Let's invoke node, and we'll pass that in there. We'll pass the JavaScript source code to the node runtime and see what happens. Okay, the server's running. Okay, great. The server's running here. That's good. That's what we want. And now we're going to point our browser to this socket here, to the local, to the loopback local IP address here, and port 3000. So let's go to the browser. And we can just back that out. And let's check it one more time. So we can just, I don't know if that we need the HTTP. We'll put the whole, we'll just copy and paste it actually. No. Okay, we're going to copy the link there, back to the browser address bar, and we're going to paste it and go to it. And there it is. So everything's working okay there. So we opened the browser, we pointed it to that server and port socket. This is a web socket, I believe. When you have an IP address binded with a port, that's a web socket. And you can see our JavaScript is being rendered here. Hello Tech Republic. And we can go back So you wonder if that was in the source code file at Tech Republic? Yeah, let's take a look at it. Open a new tab here, and then we can go ahead and nano and open that again. And you can see right here, this is what's being echoed onto the screen here. Hello Tech Republic. Okay, let's put that back up here. Let's put this back up. Okay, great. Okay, so we opened the browser, we pointed it to where it had to go, and we saw that it says hello, the output is what we want, and then that's it. We can close the browser and shut down the app in the terminal. If you want to kill the server here, it would be a Control C, and that kills the server process. And then the output stays the same, but once you were to reload it, then it can't be reached because the server's down. So yeah, that's all there is to installing the latest version of Node, the Node runtime for JavaScript, the NPM JavaScript package manager, and the Yarn package manager for JavaScript. And we created a standard hello world.javascript application, and we passed that to the Node runtime, and then we pointed our browser to the server, and we got the output that we were looking for. So, yeah, I don't know if we need to do a recap. I think that was a good enough recap right there. But I'll give you a quick little recap. Well, I guess there's really not much need there. I mean, we installed the Node runtime, not from the APT. Not from the Ubuntu APT repo, which is outdated, but from a different host. Here, nodesource.com. We got it from there, and it was 18. And then added the repo for that. We added some compilers that we had to get, a make tool, the GCC compilers. Then we installed the Yarn package manager, and don't forget with the Node runtime, it gave us the NPM package manager as well. And then we opened up we made a node test directory, and we CD'd into it, and we used nano to create a JavaScript source code file, which we passed into the Node runtime, which started the server, and then we pointed our browser to that WebSocket address, and we got it rendered the output there. And we didn't really have to change. Remember, I said we might have to change the IP address from the loopback address to the host IP address. We didn't have to do that. The local loopback worked. That was fine. Otherwise, you would have wanted to change the local loopback address to the actual host IP address. So that's it. That's all there is to installing Node, NPM, and Yarn, and running JavaScript application to test it. And we did that on Ubuntu Linux 22.04. Okay, thank you for watching. I look forward to your feedback and comments. Thank you. And I'll leave you with the Node.js website again.